Yeah. All right. Well, officially now, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the start of a brand new Rising Stars series. And yes, we do record these every time, but it's just so much better if you can be on live. You know, we wanted to make my rule that you had to be on every call live, but we know that's just unrealistic to have 4 straight Mondays or 4 straight anythings. So we encourage that you won't have a conflict. So we encourage you to continue to try to get on live, but watch the recording if you can, if you cannot be on live. So if y'all could just quickly introduce yourselves, since we have a small group tonight, I would love for you to just say your name and your sponsor, and we'll just kind of put the family together here. We'll go across the top. Heidi, I mean, that's the order I'm seeing y'all in.
Okay, I'm Heidi Thompson, and Laura Georgiadis is my sponsor.
Great, and welcome. Jesse, I see you next. They probably know you, but go ahead.
I am Jessie, and actually Carly Funkhauser is my sponsor.
And you'll be hearing from Jessie when I had stopped talking. And Lindsay?
I'm Lindsay, and Jessie is my sponsor.
Awesome. And now I'm seeing Heidi again. Lauren? Lauren's face is gone. Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie Parham, and
my connection is kind of slow, so I'm catching some slow communication. But anyway, I'm Lauren, and Connolly is my sponsor.
Hi, Lauren. Okay.
Connolly Stewart.
Julie.
Hi, I'm Julie Parham, and Conley Stewart is my sponsor.
Great. And Nadina, I see you've joined us. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can. Just introduce yourself and tell us who your sponsor is. I know, but they don't.
Hi, I am Nadina Pendleton, and Laura Georgiadis is my sponsor. Oh, it's dark now. I see. I'm getting my kids to bed all at the same time. So,
well, welcome. The first thing that we're going to talk about tonight is what it means to become an independent consultant. And the last time when I asked anyone to jump in and tell me what they thought that meant, everyone was keying in on the word consultant. So I'm going to give you a little hint tonight. I'm going to key in on the word independent. What do you think that means? Anyone? Y'all don't get to hear me talk.
It means you're not an employee.
There you go. Very good.
You're in business for yourself?
Absolutely. And so those are good. And for yourself, you're not an employee. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what independent came to mean to me very quickly in my business. If you've heard this before, I'm going to tell the story probably the same way because it's a true story. I was sponsored by someone that I did not know out in Nebraska. Some of you know that. The sister of a friend. She had been in the business about 2 months when she sponsored me. And probably in about my first week, I called to ask her. He said that she had been trained by her upline not to call and ask a question unless she had first used the resources that she had. And I always like to watch people's faces when I say that. Y'all are, anyway, I will be honest and tell you, I was annoyed. I was busy. I was trying to learn so many things. And I thought, she probably knows this. Can she not just tell me the answer? But and I will say, in fairness to her, that she didn't say it in a mean way. She said it in that further annoying parental type way of this is for your own good. And so I went to my policies and procedures manual and I looked and I read and I found it. And I read the paragraph again and again to be sure that I understood what it was saying. And then I started reading up and down and around it. And I thought, you know, for me to be annoyed that she would not spoon feed me that answer was a lot like when I used to want my dad to help me with math homework. I really didn't want to learn it. I just wanted the answer so I could write it down, so I could go back to playing and hanging out with my friends, where he wanted to direct me to learn and figure this out on my own and understand so I could do it on my own the next time. And, you know, I resolved I was not going to call the sponsor. She didn't stay in the business, but just for about a few months. But I was not going to call her or anyone else with questions that I could find out. So everything I didn't know, I looked up. I looked in the policies manual. We didn't have the source in there. I always say, Jesse, willed that into place, saying, why don't we have a search function? And she made it happen with her will. But we didn't even have that. But I could look in Learn and Burns. I looked in Arbonne University by topics. And if I needed help with something technical, I would call customer service. And after a while, instead of feeling annoyed at my sponsor, I realized that she had really given me a great gift in that answer. It was the gift of being independent, the gift of my having to take ownership of my business, the gift of my becoming incredibly knowledgeable about every aspect of this business. I remember once finding an Arbonne University training that explained the compensation plan. And I took this chart that I had and marked it and watched this thing about 2 or 3 times until I understood every detail, from how a consultant is paid to a district to an area, all the way up to nation. And because of that, I have sat at the kitchen tables with many husbands with their wives as they are looking, husbands and wives together, not just with the husbands, with these couples as their wives are looking at the business, because often the husband really wants to see some numbers and wants to know more before their wives just jump into this crazy thing. And so anytime someone tells me that they want me to meet with their husbands, I tell them I love to do this, but just be sure you want to do this business. Definitely, because when I get through going over this with your husband, he will make you do this business. When he sees this comp plan, how much sense it makes. But it's because I understood it. Just another example that was very helpful in my getting independent, just in that area alone, is when Connolly, back as probably a district manager, came and asked me if I would sit down and show her how she could earn $700 a month. And I knew exactly how to map that out. And it made her see that it was doable. It made her commit to making it happen. And it made her know that I knew what I was doing. I didn't have to say, well, let me ask Lynn if she'll cover that on the Next Nation call. It was something that I knew. So I just really want to encourage you all to do that. And in case you think that my sponsor was really mean, hopefully you won't by now after I've explained all that. A few years ago when I attended the ACE dinner at GTC, and I hope many of you will earn that at some point in time, at least once. I've earned it twice. It's being one of the top 35 central areas in the company. And there's a really nice dinner at GTC, and they put a top income earner at each table with a couple of the ACE winners. And seated next to me was Martha McIntyre, a name you probably don't hear all that much, but she was sponsored by Nita Irwin, and then Martha sponsored both Cecilia Stoll and Carlita Nelson, which both are top 10 income earners as well. And Martha was talking about how Nita had so trained all of them like this, that anytime anyone even began to voice a question to someone else, they would say, look in the manual, because they didn't dare ask for things they could find. And I don't want that to mean that y'all are scared to death to ask me or your sponsor, but just an encouragement, because I do answer questions, but I just want to encourage you to take advantage of all the resources and really learn some of these things for yourself, because you don't want to have to say, let me always get me in front of someone, or Jesse in front of someone, or Connolly, or your area manager, but just really learn some of these things. And I really encourage you to read The 4-Year Career and Business of the 21st Century. Both of those, The Business of the 21st Century, I recommend to all of you because you're consultants already working this business. And I didn't get that book until it was the summer that I promoted to Region. And Deanna sent it to me as a present. And I had been meaning to get it, and that made me read it. Nothing made me understand the gift that I had to offer in this business, like reading that cover to cover. I understood network marketing. I explained it, but that put it just so much in my heart and my mind, had my mind so solidly wrapped around why it's such an incredible business model in every way, not just because of the way it makes money, but that whole last chapter about the personal growth and development and why to choose a company, to be sure and choose a company that's their focus, because that's what it's going to take to be successful. So, and For Your Career is such a great one that you can read that in an hour, and that's one that I would use to just give to someone else. I probably have about 6 of them always in rotation to have somebody else read that so that they can hear a third-party validation on what this business means. So all that is to say that a huge key for success in this business is to really take ownership of it from day one. Like one of you said, you're not someone else's employee. It's your business. If you were opening McDonald's or a Starbucks, I don't know why I said McDonald's, I just like that. But any franchise, you would be reading and studying how can I make this one duplicate all these other successful franchises. So plug into the resources that are available, and what are some resources that you already use that you know to use? I might have mentioned some. It's okay.
They're on mute. So
okay. All right. That's okay. Jesse, why don't you pick up here with more ways that you're going to share to set yourself up for success in this business?
Well, I'll answer your questions.
Okay, go ahead.
People's ideas. The source, the success plan, Dropbox, Facebook pages, Voxer, Google. Those are always good ones. Did that answer your question well?
Yes, ma'am. And thrilled to have Executive Area Manager Jesse Collier training on these calls. Connolly will be joining us between the 3 of us, and Lynn is going to pop on one of them. 2 of us will be training on each call. So y'all are in for a treat now with Jesse, who is one who definition of taking ownership of this from day one and really getting that this is my business, my moment, my vehicle. So go, Jesse.
Alrighty. So I am covering 222 on the second half of this call. And so 222, to keep it very basic and like down to basics, that's the whole point of these calls. 2 group presentations a week, 2 sponsoring appointments or one-on-ones a week about the opportunity, and 2 tester set drop-offs per week. And you can add in 2 sample packs in there if you want. A lot of the first 6 months of my business was a ton of sample packs because I literally knew nobody in Richmond until I started going to like mommy groups and stuff like that. So building my network here. But I built my business in the first half of my business out of state, which is why most of my team is out of state. So 222, for those of you that were at the Impact Tour this weekend, some of this will sound familiar, but I just love Debbie Neal and how she trains. She is very motivating, and she tells the truth in love and just gets it. So a lot of this may sound familiar, but as far as 222 is concerned, she talked about the game and how the game stays the same. And the game is that 222. It stays the same no matter where you are in your business, where you start, when you start. It's always 222 a week with the goal of 888 a month. So that is the optimum. And depending on which direction you go, as far as how close you're staying to that 222, will depend or will result in the growth of your business. So that's directly dependent on each other. So, seasons change, players change, momentum changes, obstacles will change, but the game will always be the same. District manager to MVP, same game. There is nothing in this business that activity can't fix. And she talked about how you need to starve the negativity. And one of the things that, early on, especially, you'll get is that one of those pyramid scheme things that you're in. That is a very common hesitation, if you will, or maybe even a rejection, just because people don't understand what this industry is and the power of this industry and how extremely professional this industry is. once you're further along in your business, or maybe you're blessed to get it right off the bat. But it took me a little while to really understand and appreciate, once I started researching what this industry is all about, that it really is the business of the 21st century. And they say that in the book, but Robert Kiyosaki's book, which I highly recommend. But she talked about how, you know, some people can say that to you, is that one of those pyramid things? And her answer is, I don't know. Why don't you tell me what that is, and then I'll let you know if it's one of those things, which I love, because typically they have no idea what they're saying. They just know that word, pyramid, and they just throw it out because they think they know. But I just love how, you know, you sort of throw it back at them and say, I'm not sure. Just play dumb. I'm not sure. You tell me. I love that answer. I'm going to use that for sure. And she talked about, there was a man who brought his friend to the swamps of Florida and told him to look around, and he had huge visions of hotels and amusement parks and rides, and people would come there and spend thousands on vacation. And Art Linkletter is his friend. And he said, you know, I can't afford all of this. I can only afford this amount. And his friend said no and walked away. And it's estimated that, I don't know, what did she say? It was like $1 million, millions of dollars each step walking away. And she relates that to our business. That was Disney World, obviously, if you haven't figured that out. But she relates that to our business. You know, when people say no to joining the business and they walk away, she's like, that was an expensive walk away, my friend. So I thought that was funny. And very, very appropriate, because we control how big and how wide our business can go. It's up to us. We're going to be out of balance in this business. But we can be out of balance and on fire to create a life that's full of choices. And ultimately that's what the whole point of this business really is choices. If you think about your why. The moral of the story is, you know, we try to keep it simple and duplicatable. I don't even know if that's a word. We keep on using that word, and I really don't think duplicatable is a word, but, you know, I'll go with it. But the whole point is to keep it simple. We sell products and we recruit business owners. Those are the two things. It's very simple. And a lot of times we complicate it, but you know what? People are looking for inspiration over information. You don't have to know everything right off the bat. Another thing that I want to talk about in terms of the group presentations, the sponsoring, the tester sets, when you're just interacting with people, you think of all the department stores, the stores out there, Saks, Tiffany's, Nordstrom's, Walmart, you know, they all have storefronts. We are our storefront. And Debbie talked about that this weekend. People buy me first before they buy Arbonne. Remember that, so that you don't get quote unquote weird. And I joke about that with my friend Boyce, because she was very worried about getting weird, like one of the reps that has gone crazy in her town for a different company. She's like, I don't want to get that way. I'm like, okay, so don't get weird. This is a relationship business. It's easy to forget and start puking, vomiting Arbonne all over people when we first get started. And to be honest, I can still sort of feel myself doing that, and I have to hold back from, because I'm just so excited about it and I want to share everything. But it's nice to leave something to the imagination and get people curious and intrigued and interested. No one likes to be sold something at the end of the day. So we really have to be self-aware. I don't know about you, but today I went to Costco with my two youngest, and a guy started coming at me trying to sell me something. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I kind of get defensive when people do that. So I think that the whole point of me bringing that up is just be self-aware of how people are perceiving how you are approaching them about the business. You know, again, it's a relationship business. We have to be product of the product. So we have to be using the products because facts tell and stories sell. So our own stories are going to be more relatable to people. As far as sponsoring is concerned, we don't sponsor what we want. We sponsor what we are being. Duplication is everything in this business. And as I mentioned, the activity, there's nothing in this business that activity can't fix. So we really want to keep our calendars full. The goal, again, is 8 a month, 2 a week. And we need to measure our activity, not, you know, weeks, months, days, years in this business. You have to measure it by activity to determine, you know, the growth and the potential for your business. Let's see. We do in Arbonne, we need to do in Arbonne what we want to duplicate on our team. If we want a team in massive momentum, we have to be in momentum ourselves, earn bonuses, earn the trips, earn the Laguna Beach Challenge, for instance. And if you don't know what that is, we can talk about that later. As far as the one-on-one, the intention for the one-on-one is to get in front of networks, and we always want to lead with the business. We are looking for, number one, this is in the Trifecta Close, which is an awesome learn and burn if you haven't looked that up yet. But number one is Business Builder. Number two is we're trying to find a host. And number three, make a sale. Notice it's Business Builder first, then host, then the sale. Because again, we're trying to get in front of networks and share with other people, build relationships, and learn about their why, their dreams, how Arbonne can help them achieve their goals and their dreams. And we are, in the end, we're sharing a gift. And I know that sort of sounded cliche when I first started, like, really? Is it, you know, because I didn't really understand. It wasn't really deep inside of me, but I can tell you, and I know Dina feels the same way, that this is a gift that we're sharing with people. And we're not in the convincing business. We're in the sorting business. It's not our job to convince people. This opportunity is amazing. And if people can wrap their mind around it and understand it, then the world is their oyster. There is a big difference between mentioning Arbonne and sharing Arbonne with your heart and soul. Dina always says belief has a sound, because that was a Cecilia Stoll call, which again is another great one, belief, attitude, and commitment. And belief really does have a sound. So the number one reason why people join network marketing is because they were asked. And the number one reason why they don't join is because they were never asked. Let's see. I will get into, okay, so as far as the sponsoring appointments are concerned, we have these opportunity packets. And if you're in Richmond, I know Dina buys these by the bulk, but my team, I have directed them to Amazon because I know that they sell these on Amazon as well. These are just clear plastic envelopes that look awesome for presentation purposes. And what you include in here is your business card. And I get my business cards off of Vistaprint. I know Arbonne does them as well, but you can always find coupon codes on Google for Vistaprint. That's where I get mine. And then you have these opportunity brochures, which you can order by the 10 pack on Business Aids. So notice if you put 10 in there, you're going to get 100 of them. I have to say that because I had somebody make that mistake before. You also have the compensation plan, which I know is in my team Dropbox folder. I'm sure it's in Dina's as well, but you know, we can forward these sheets of paper to you. But the compensation plan shows the average monthly income and the average time it takes. And then you can include an eye on Arbonne, which you get in all of your orders from Arbonne. So I save those, but also I went to my printer and I got a bunch of my favorites made. And Dina's Nation one will be out soon, so we'll have to order those too. So that's for sponsoring appointments. Now, I mean, we could spend a whole entire call on the sponsoring appointment, but when you get someone, when you ask them to join you for a coffee or a lunch or whatever it is that you want, a play date or whatever, you want to just keep that invitation short and simple and to the point, just an invitation to come learn more about what you're doing, and maybe add in a little feeling of why you think they would be great at this or want to learn a little bit more about it. Keep it short. Don't try to explain it all, and that's not what that call or that bump in is all about. It's about getting them to that coffee appointment. And once you're there, hopefully they have tried I like to give a tester kit out, which is this. You get these gold bags from Business Aids as well, and then you can put your RE9 set in. If you are in the Richmond area again, you have these. You can get these little jars from Dina, but again, these are on Amazon too if you're out of town. So we don't have to mail them all to you and pay extra shipping, which is obscene. But what we do is put the night cream. I take an empty container of the night cream, and I put this little jar in it with 5 days worth. I give them out for 5 days personally. 5 days worth of night cream in there, which is not a lot. And then I just pop it in here. Otherwise, you can just use these until you get an empty container. So that coffee appointment, that one-on-one, could be the follow-up time when you're getting this back. Otherwise, you want to make sure you always set an appointment for a follow-up to pick this up if you're just giving them the set to try. Treat it like a doctor's office. You're not going to give somebody a $300 set and say, oh, whenever you get back to me. You need to treat it like this is your employee and you need to get this back. The benefit of these tester kits is the fact that a little sample pack is great, and they're great for mailing out of town, but in town, to touch and feel the full-size product and see how little goes a long way and how long these bottles really will last, what they feel like, what they smell like, all of that combined, people don't want to give these sets back once they have them, which is great. And then as far as the one-on-one, when you have that appointment, we have a 4-question follow-up, which looks like this, and we can send that out too. But it's goes over the simple questions of what surprised you most about what you learned, what you heard, if you're giving them an opportunity call at first, or this could be at the end of your one-on-one. What did you like best? Did anyone come to mind that would benefit from the products, the business, or both? And then on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you see yourself? 1 being, I never want to hear about Arbonne again, to 10 being, I'm intrigued. Tell me a little bit more. So again, we can go more in depth on this in another appointment or another call. I think that covers the 222. Dina, does that cover it?
That is good. I mean, yes, for the length of this call, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So that is, I think you were going to comment, although we are already at 9:01. Do you want to say anything about the personal growth before we're that on your list?
So I love personal development. I think that is the best part about this business, the growth. I mean, I've been in this business now for about 2.5 years, and I am not the same person I was when I first started. My confidence has grown. My competence has grown. My belief in myself has grown. And that's all, I believe, strongly because of personal development. I've read or listened to over 40 books, countless hours of trainings. And that is a huge, 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 huge part of growing your business. There are 4 parts of belief in that call that I mentioned from Cecilia Stoll: belief, attitude, and commitment. She talks about belief in the product, belief in the industry, belief in the company, and belief in yourself. And so figure out which of those 4 you need to work on and just go to work on that. There's so much out there, from the Learn and Burns to SoundCloud, which is free, to Kindle, audiobooks. The library does free books. You can find it anywhere. One of the best ones when you're first starting out is Go Pro by Eric Worre. And that actually can be found for free on the SoundCloud, I found out. But he also sells them as a audio disc, and there's a paperback book too. I have all of them. It's just a great reminder. You need to listen to it over and over. Rita Davenport in Green Bay talked about listening to or reading books 7 times. So it's not about the quantity of books, it's comprehending and understanding the books that you're reading or listening to. So you can't listen to that one enough. He obviously knows what he's doing. So personal development is huge.
Very good. You're a walking testimony. Well, thank you so much, Jessie, and thank you all of you for joining us tonight. The next week, if you want a little preview of what we'll be doing, we're going to be talking about how to run a group presentation, from how to book them, from coaching our hostess, as we call it, really working with them to make them your partner, to having your party being, and Jessie, you're right, I looked up duplicatable, always gets underlined like it's not a real word. It's duplicable is the right word, but duplicatable is just, I don't know, it's like it gets in our head. But anyway, you want people to copy what you're doing. And so having your group presentations being so simple that new consultants can copy them, and kind of run through some of the main points that you want to be sure to include. So that is what is coming up. And I would just encourage everyone to listen to the call. It was a little late posting on Facebook today, but it was still Monday. So I posted the call that we recommend for the week, a call that Jessie just reminded me of last week. And it's at Prospecting Like a Pro by Richard Bliss Brooke. And so just, you'll see that on the Facebook page. But in case you think I blew it off, I did not. About 2 hours ago or 3, I got it on there. And that is well worth your time. It's probably like the 4th time that I have listened to it, and probably will remind myself of that one at least every 3 months. And you won't be bored at all. So thank you. We're running a tiny bit over, but because we let everyone introduce themselves, right? Wasn't it? But anyway, and on that, asking questions, don't freak out and go, oh my word, I can't call them now. We want to be there for you. Call your area manager or your RVP and ask them to be with you at your group presentations and at your appointments to talk with others about the business. And just having, I would love to have any of you at my appointments, just so that they can meet another awesome person who is building a business with Arbonne. So let us be there and learn on some of these appointments. So hopefully that was all taken in the right way. Y'all good with that? That difference between independence and letting us help you cast a really big vision for whoever you're talking with about all that's possible in this business. All right. Think you can cut recording?